Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read chapters 7, 8, and 9 and finish the book, Stanley Flat Again. I hope you enjoy. Chapter 7. Where are you, Emma? In the late afternoon sunlight, at the remains of the old Merker building, the Lambchops and the Weekses watched Chief Johnson prepare Stanley for his rescue attempt. Flash Tobin, the Daily Sentinel photographer, was there too, taking pictures. Mrs. Lambchop had supplied 2 slices of bread and cheese, each wrapped in plastic, and her grandfather's flat silver cigarette case filled with grape soda. Chief Johnson taped the bread and cheese packets to Stanley's arms and legs, the cigarette case to his chest, and gave him a small, flat flashlight. Then he led Stanley up to a tall crack in the wreckage. "Emma!" he shouted. "Fella's coming to help you. When he calls your name, you holler back, hear? So he knows which way to go. Got that?" Emma's voice came faintly. Yeah. Hurry up. I'm starving." Chief Johnson took Stanley's hand. "Good luck, son." The evening sunlight glowed warmly on the red bricks of the fallen building as Stanley stepped close to the crack. Mrs. Lambchop waved to him, and Stanley waved back. How handsome he is, she thought. How brave, how tall, how flat. Stanley took 2 steps forward and disappeared sideways through the crack. A moment later, they heard his shout. "Hey, it's really dark in here." "Hay is for horses, Stanley," Mrs. Lambchop called back. "Oh, never mind. Good luck, dear." This was a dark greater than any he had ever known. Stanley could almost feel the blackness on his skin. He clicked his flashlight and edged forward without difficulty, but then the crack narrowed, slowing him. The bread slice on his left leg had scraped something, loosening the tape that held it. Pressing the tape back into place, he wiggled forward until he came to what seemed a dead end. But a little swing of the flashlight showed cracks branching right and left. "Emma," he called. "Here!" Her voice came from the right, so he moved along that branch. "Emma? Yeah, what?" "When I say your name, you're supposed to say here." "I already did that." He followed another crack to the left. "Emma?" There was no answer. Stanley managed a few more feet, and then, quite suddenly, the crack widened. He called again. "Emma? Bananas!" "Keep talking," he shouted. "I need to hear you." "Bananas, here, blah, blah, whatever. Hey, I can see your lights." And there she was. The crack had widened to become a small cave, at the back of which sat Emma. Her jeans and her shirt were smudged with dirt, but it was most surely Emma, squinting against the brightness of his light. "You," she exclaimed. "From school? The flatty?" "Don't lose your temper," Stanley told himself. "I was the only one they thought could get in here. How are you doing, Emma?" Emma rolled her eyes. "Oh, just great. A whole building falls on me, and then they send in a flatty. And now I'm starving to death." Stanley untaped the slices of bread and cheese and handed them over. "Cheese, huh?" Emma put her sandwich together and took a bite. "I hate cheese. Got anything to drink, Flatty?" "Please don't call me Flatty. Here." He held out the silver cigarette case. Emma rolled her eyes again. "I'm not allowed to smoke." "It's soda." She opened the cigarette case and sipped. "Blah, I hate grape." Chief Johnson's voice rose from a hole in the wall behind her. "Stanley, you there yet?" Emma jerked a thumb at the hole. "It's for you, Flatty." "I'm here, Chief," Stanley called. "Emma's okay." He heard cheering, and then the chief's voice came again. "See a way out, Stan?" "I haven't had a chance to look around yet. Emma's eating." "We'll wait. Over and out, Stan." "You too," Stanley called. He waited until Emma had finished her sandwich. "Emma, how did you get into this mess? What made you come in here?" "I just came over to look," Emma said. "And they all had these signs. Danger, keep out, all over the place, even behind the parking lot. Keep out, danger. I really hate that, you know." So there was this door, and it was open, so I went in. She finished the grape soda. Okay, let's go. Not the way I came in, Stanley said. I could just barely squeeze through. And we have to be careful because... I know, Emma interrupted. Chief What's-His-Name kept telling me, don't move around. The whole rest of the building might crash down. So I'm supposed to live down here forever? This door you came through, Stanley said. How far did you come to find this sort of cave you were in? Who said anything about far? I just got inside. And there were these crashing noises, and the whole building was shaking, and I fell right down here. The crashing went on forever. I thought I was going to die. Calm down. An idea came into Stanley's head. Just where was this door, do you remember? Over there somewhere, Emma pointed into the darkness of the corner behind her. Stanley swung his light, but saw only what seemed to be a solid white of splintered board, rock, and brick. Emma pointed a bit to the left and then right. Maybe there. I don't know. Was I supposed to take pictures or something? What difference does it make? We might be just a little bit inside that door, Stanley said. And what we want is to be just outside of it. Moving closer to the corner, he saw that the jagged piece of wood protruded at waist level. It came out easily when he tugged, followed by loose dirt. Emma stood beside him. Why are you making this mess? He poked in the hole with a stick. Maybe I'll find... Dirt cascaded from the wall, covering his shoes. He saw light now. Not just a little circle from his flashlight, but daylight. Unmistakably daylight. Ooh, said Emma. Stanley made the hole a little larger. And they saw that a door lay on its side across the bottom of the hole. Wreckage limiting the opening on both sides. But it was big enough. They would be able to wiggle through. He ran back to the wall from which Chief Johnson's voice had come. We're on our way out, he shouted. We'll be in back in the courtyard. Got it, came the chief's voice. Great work. Stanley turned to Emma. Let's go. I'll get all dirty, silly, Emma said. Maybe we could just come on. Don't yell, Emma said, but she crawled quickly through the hole with Stanley right behind her. Chapter 8. Hero. There was much rejoicing in the courtyard. Mrs. Lambchop kissed Stanley and Arthur. Mrs. Weeks kissed Emma. And then everyone else, even Flash Tobin, who had arrived to take pictures. Mr. Lambchop shook hands with Mr. Weeks and Chief Johnson, who announced several times that Stanley was a great hero. Flash Tobin took a group picture of all of the Lambchops. Need one more, he said. Emma, just you and Stanley. Your hero, right? Saved your life. I could have gotten out by myself, Emma said. I just didn't know exactly where the door was. But she went to stand by Stanley. Smile, Flash Tobin took the picture. Yes, that's good. He gave Stanley a cheerful slap on the back, just as Emma's elbow jabbed hard into Stanley's ribs. Ow, Stanley yelled. Emma grinned. That's for you, my hero. Are you crazy? What? Stanley stopped. Everybody was staring at him. He felt peculiar, as if, yes, he was getting round again. Wow, Emma said. How do you do that? Hooray for you, dear, shouted Mrs. Lambchop, and more cries rose from others in the courtyard. Do you see what I see? He's blowing up. Are we crazy or what? Flash Tobin aimed his camera again. Hold it, kid. But he was too late. Before him now stood a smiling Stanley Lambchop, shaped like a regular boy. Mr. Lambchop ran to hug him, and everyone else applauded. Been 30 years with the fire department, and never saw anything like that, said Chief Johnson. Would have missed it. Wouldn't have missed it. I'm really glad, said Stanley. But what made it happen? What Dr. Dan said, shouted Arthur. Remember? The osteoposteo whatever? The OBP. The Osteo balance point, Mr. Lambchop smiled. Yes, the slap on the back from Flash Tobin and the poke from Emma. That did it. A board fell from the tilted roof of the Merker building and landed in the corner of the courtyard. Let's go, folks, said Chief Johnson. We're not safe here. A moment later, back out at the street, there was more hugging and kissing and saying goodnight. Suddenly, behind them, there was a great creaking and grinding sound. Turning, they watched what was left of the Merker building come crashing down. Emma spoke first. "Oh, boy," she said softly. "Wow." Mrs. Weeks caught her eye and gave her a nod toward Stanley. Emma looked puzzled. "Huh? Oh, yeah," she turned to Stanley. "I guess maybe, you saved my life. Whatever." She kissed his cheek. "Thank you very much, Stanley Lambchop." "It's okay," Stanley said, quietly red in the face. "You're welcome." Everyone went home. Chapter 9. Fame. At bedtime the next evening, the Lambchops read again the Daily Sentinel they had enjoyed so much at breakfast that morning. The front page headline read, "Rude Girl Saved. Flat Rescuer Regains Shape." There were also 2 Flash Tobin photographs, the Lambchops family picture and the one of Stanley and Emma taken just before she poked him in the ribs. Arthur was particularly pleased with the family picture. "Finally," he said, "not just Stanley. People could have been wondering if he had a brother, Can I have this one?" "You may," said Mrs. Lambchop. "I want the one of Stanley with Emma for my kitchen wall." "I don't care about pictures," Stanley said. "I just hope I never go back to being flat." Mrs. Lambchop patted his head. "I told Dr. Dan of your recovery, dear. He thinks it was most unlikely the flatness will occur again." "Yay," said Stanley. Arthur cut the family picture out of the paper and used a red pencil to draw an arrow pointing up at him in the white space at the bottom. Under the arrow, he wrote, "Hero's Brother." Then he taped the picture to the wall above his bed. Soon, all the Lambchops were asleep. The end. I hope you all enjoyed the story about Flat Stanley. And if you are interested in more stories, there are many more Flat Stanley stories for you to enjoy. Have a wonderful day, boys and girls.